This is Ecotricity's EcoTEC Roundup show from Aotearoa's first and only climate positive certified renewable electricity provider. We only source from wind, hydro and solar, and we are the leading supplier of electricity to electric vehicles in Aotearoa. Switch today at ecotricity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup in the world of clean cars and green energy. Thanks for joining me. I'm here for the launch of the Volkswagen ID Buzz long wheelbase. There's a big Volkswagen bus festival happening literally off camera down there. You can see people coming in and parking up their classic Volkswagen buses, all while Volkswagen itself gets ready to unveil the ID Buzz long wheelbase in about 3 hours time as we are filming this. But when you're watching this, the reveal will already have happened. In case you're wondering, we are going to be making a special walk around video. We didn't get a chance to drive it. We didn't get a chance really to sit inside it because we had such a limited amount of time. We're doing a very quick walk around video, and that should drop either very late this weekend or early during the week. So keep your eyes peeled and make sure that you've hit the subscribe button for that. Because I'm not in the studio, I don't have my teleprompter, I don't have my green screen, I don't have all of the fancy graphics. So what I've got here is my laptop, and I'm going to walk through some of the big stories that have happened this week. And of course, the most important thing, I guess, for this video, especially with me being a guest of Volkswagen right now, is the fact that the ID Buzz has officially launched. So 3 rows of seats instead of 2, got some fancy features. You can put a full-size double bed in the back so you can camp on the road. It's got faster charging, we were told, than the 2-row version of the ID Buzz, thanks in part to a 91 kilowatt hour battery pack. There are no official range specs yet. We're talking somewhere around the 250 mark in ideal situations, but expect it to be less in the real world. And of course, loads and loads of gadgets and techs, electronically adjustable front seats, heated front seats, heated second row seats. That's a bus, and it's going to go on sale towards the end of next year. There's no price yet, but the price we're expecting is, I would expect $65,000, unless it's made in the US, and then maybe things might get slightly cheaper. But $65,000 to $70,000 is, I think, how much it will be. And I think this means it's not going to be an obvious family-friendly car, but rather a car for people who've got lots of money, which is a bit of a shame. Let's talk about another expensive vehicle, and that is the Fisker Ocean. Its range has just been announced. It's got a 360-mile EPA adjusted range. Again, I'm on location, so I don't have the ability to, in my head, convert that to kilometers. So if you're watching this in a country that uses a metric system, I'm really sorry. But 360 miles is a pretty impressive amount of range. That's putting it towards the upper end of the range charts. And I think that's a really good, important piece of news. Deliveries are going to start in June, and hopefully here in the United States, we will see people enjoying their car. Now, we have already seen the first deliveries start in Europe, and so we'll have to see how many deliveries Fisker manages in the US in this quarter, because it really does need those extra deliveries. Next up, let's talk about the UK, where the government is basically getting rid of the EV grants. And so what Fiat has done in response is it's going to start offering a Fiat e-grant to anyone who wants to buy a Fiat 500e in the UK, and it's going to be about £3,000, and so that will give you an incentive to come on board and buy a Fiat 500e. It's basically a cash on hood deal. I think it's going to be very useful. I haven't actually driven the Fiat 500e. I know that when Michael and I were in the UK earlier this year, we were really excited to see one. We didn't get our hands on one. We did try, but sadly we failed on that. I am not au fait at the moment off the top of my head with the UK EV grant scheme, so I can't tell you exactly the details of it. But kind of the important bit about this news is that the automaker, Fiat, has stepped up and gone, okay, the British government may no longer be offering incentives to people to go electric, but we want to give you a cash on hood deal, a discount to help you buy that. I would also editorialize a bit here and say, why wasn't it a lower price to begin with? But that, I suppose, is, you know, you sell something for the price that someone is willing to pay for it at the end of the day. Another interesting story coming out from California, where I am right now, is that Ford, fresh from its news last week, lots of horns, because it's rush hour, right? It's 7:15 in the morning. Ford has just announced a new deal with Uber that will make flexible leases available for Mustang Mach E drivers who live in certain Californian cities. It's a Ford Drive product is what they're calling it, and it allows someone who wants to do gig stuff, i.e. Uber, to lease a Mustang Mach E in 1 and 4 month increments. So if you are between between jobs, or you are looking to earn some extra cash, you can lease a Ford Mustang Mach E for a short period of time to try it out effectively and see if it's a bonus for you as an Uber driver, and then you can extend it to go forward at that point. So you can think of this almost as an extended test drive for existing Uber drivers to see if they should go electric. I think it's a good idea. I would love to know how the finances are going to work on this. I don't see details of the actual leasing program, but it was launched in San Diego last year and is being proven quite popular. So it's now being expanded to more cities, and fingers crossed, it will get more EVs into Uber's fleet, which is something that the company has said it wants to do and has been looking into doing for quite some time. Obviously, there is no more news yet on the Ford adopting the North American Charge Standard, or NACS, the Tesla supercharger plug. I'm throwing this in because I know a lot of you have been asking in the comments. Ford has said to us at this time there's no more official news to give. I've been hearing rumblings on the grapevine. It would be inappropriate for me to talk about those rumblings because it would both betray the confidence of the people that I've talked to, who have told me that Ford is not ready to make an official statement at this time, but also they're kind of word of mouth and not direct from a spokesperson at the company. And again, that would be inappropriate. So officially, Ford has not said. Unofficially, I think there might be some good news for existing customers. All right, next up, Lucid, who had a terrible quarter, really. It burned through a lot of cash at the start of the year. It has now announced a stock offering because that's how publicly traded companies raise extra capital when they need some. So it's announced a $3 billion stock raise. The majority of that, though, will be funded from the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, or the Saudi PIF. Like Norway, Saudi Arabia obviously has become very rich through the oil and gas industry, and its public investment fund is a way for the country to kind of use some of that proceeds from oil and gas to fund other things. Norway, of course, used its public investment fund to fund EV incentives. Saudi Arabia, to this point, hasn't really done a whole lot of investment in EVs. Now we're starting to see it, lean in towards cleaner, greener, safer and smarter vehicles. And of course, Lucid is fairly near the top of that list of companies that it's invested in. Right now, Saudi Arabia PIF owns more than 60% of Lucid. So it's acquiring 267 million new shares in the company with a value of 1.8 billion. The private placement, that's what it is, where it's going to acquire those in a separate deal, is expected to close on June 26th, so at the end of this month. The remaining stock is going to be offered on the public market, and it will happen around the same time. Lucid had previously said it had enough money to keep it going through, I think, until the end of 2024, if memory serves correctly. But obviously raising some extra capital is very important. It's making an expensive car. It's not selling huge numbers right now, and it really needs to start ramping up production and get on with things there. So Tesla has been quietly discounting Model 3s. Some folks at Electric and other sites have noticed that the Tesla Model 3 appears to now be on sale effectively, with Tesla offering, again, what amounts to a cash on hood deal to make it more enticing for you to jump behind the wheel of a new Tesla Model 3. It seems to be effectively a $1,210 discount on new inventory vehicles in the US that Tesla has in stock. We know that Tesla has a healthy stock of vehicles, or it did at the end of the last quarter, and so Tesla's going to try and sell those cars off because the rumor mill is flying. It is highly anticipated that Tesla is readying itself for a launch of a refreshed Model 3. It's not going to be a completely new car. That's not how Tesla does things. It's not either a mid-cycle refresh, because that's also how Tesla doesn't do things. I would expect stylistically, externally, there to be very limited differences between the old Model 3 and this new design one. I expect the interior will be upgraded, but we all know that Tesla's upgrade path focuses intensely on the battery packs, on the drivetrain, and that's very exciting. I've heard lots of rumors, and again, I'm not gonna really go too far out on the rumors, especially not on an ad-libbed show, in case I say something that's incorrect, but it certainly feels as if we're going to see a significant upgrade in terms of powertrain and battery pack, and maybe that will result in lower pricing. So I mean, watch this space. It's expected, it was initially expected yesterday, that's Thursday, 2 days before this video goes public, but maybe it will take a little bit longer. I haven't heard anything come out overnight. Over in Polestar land, Polestar has just added some upgrades to its vehicles via over-the-air updates. Like Tesla, like Ford, like several other automakers, you can now have YouTube in your Polestar 2 while you are watching, so you can watch videos, sorry, while you are charging your vehicle. And someone's either just walked by smoking a joint or is up above me smoking a joint, because I just got a really strong smell of weed. Whew. All right, so the over-the-air update adds the YouTube functionality. It also makes some upgrades to Polestar's range assistant, and it finally adds wireless CarPlay. If you've been using a Polestar to this point and you have an Apple iPhone, you've not been able to use wireless CarPlay, it is now coming as part of this over-the-air software update. I like the wireless CarPlay systems as long as they work. I haven't had a chance to obviously test this new software out in a Polestar 2, but Polestar still offers Apple Music, I believe, as part of its standard system, unless I'm very, very incorrect. Like I say, I'm ad-libbing, so I want to make sure it makes sense. It's supposedly the 15th over-the-air update that we've seen from the Polestar 2, and you consider the Polestar 2's only been out for a couple of years. That's quite a clip. It really keeps things up to date and fresh, and reminds us why over-the-air is so important. However, as a side note, as a gripe, I don't necessarily get the watching YouTube on your car's infotainment screen while you're charging, because most people carry a mobile phone. Ford has just rolled out YouTube on certain Ford F-150 Lightnings and the Mustang Mach E's on the touchscreen display. In the case of my Ford F-150 Lightning, the only way I could watch YouTube on my truck's screen would be if I was in vicinity of a Wi-Fi network that I could hook onto, or I had a special subscription to enable video streaming from Ford, which is more money, which is more subscription services. And even though we have a Wi-Fi hotspot in our truck, and it's active because we do a lot of road tripping so that the team could continue to use the internet when we're on the road. The truck has a better reception than most cell phones. It won't allow you to stream YouTube videos over that because I guess someone wants to make some money out of it. So I'd like to see more details from Polestar about this particular feature. Let's go back to Tesla now, and an interesting piece of news. It started to ship its cars to customers with half full battery packs. In the EV world, the standard to date has been the car goes through the production line process. When it comes off the end of the production line, it is partially charged or fully charged to test that the battery works, to make sure that everything is working as it should. It may then go through further testing. By the time it comes to the dealership, though, it's not necessarily got a full battery, but an almost full battery. And if you pick it up from the dealership, again, you're expecting a full battery when you drive it off the lot. But Tesla is now delivering cars with half charged battery packs and saying, if you want to charge your car, we'll give you some supercharger credit. You can use that supercharger credit to charge your car up. And so the customers are effectively getting the same thing. From Tesla's point of view, though, it does an interesting thing because it frees up the charging stations at Tesla's factories around the world, and it means that the car can come off the production line, spend less time being charged up to 50%, and then go off straight into final testing and shipping and handling far quicker than it would if Tesla was sitting there and charging it to 100%. And there's a practical element there that increases the throughput at the factory. It means Tesla can make more vehicles without having to invest in installing extra superchargers to charge those vehicles up quickly and get them on. I have mixed opinions about it, but I think it's a very clever way around. I really do. Before I get to the final two stories, I have a quick question for you. Are you in the market for a new electric car? Because if you are, and you are in Aotearoa, you should totally check out our very own buyer's guide at ecotricity.co.nz. It is packed with all of the information you need to get you into a car that's right for you. It tells you how you can get clean, green, renewable electricity at home, and also how to use charging providers in your area. So do check it out. It's very easy, a great site. Get your journey started today. So let's get to those last two stories. Fiat's Topolino is a car that, if you look back in the history books, was very popular back in the 50s, 60s. You still see examples at classic car shows today, but now the brand is back, or the name is back, in a new electric microcar, effectively a quadricycle, or an NEV as we call them here in North America, limited top speed. But Fiat has just come out with a Fiat Topolino. It's coming into production. You'll be able to buy one in Europe. We don't have a price yet, but it has no doors. It's beach inspired. You have a little rope to keep you safe as you're driving along. I don't think the rope would actually stop you from, being hurt in an accident, but it's a quadricycle. It's a low speed electric vehicle. It's for fun. It's for driving on low speed roads rather than on motorways or freeways. And it's basically built on the same platform as the Citroen Ami and the Opel Rox E. So if you've seen those two micro cars already, and again, I just want to have a go behind the wheels of all three of them now. I would love to put them through their paces. This is the closest Fiat EV we've seen that harkens back to those early days of Fiat, the little tiny small cylinder, small capacity engines that we used to see in those vehicles back in the 50s and 60s. And I know that Michael is a Fiat fan and he's standing behind the camera grinning, so I would love to get a chance to try one of those out. Finally, how would you like to make aviation history? Scandinavian Airlines, or SAS, is going to be offering you the chance to put your name down to reserve a seat on what it says will be the first commercial flight in Sweden, Norway and Denmark. It's due to take place sometime in 2028, so 5 years time, and they are now offering you a chance to buy a ticket. Now, there are 30 tickets going on sale, each priced at 1,946 Swedish krona, I assume it's Swedish krona, about 180 bucks according to Electric here. And you'll be able to take part in history, take that first electric short haul flight in 5 years' time. So if that sounds like fun, and I know that there are people who watch this who live in Scandinavia, who work in the airline industry, I really hope that you guys get a chance to buy tickets. 30 tickets, not very many though, so you better start looking it up now. They may already even be sold. And on that note, we are done for today. Before I go though, do make sure that you've hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the latest in EV news from this channel. And of course, if you haven't switched yet, it is time to switch to Aotearoa's first and only climate positive certified renewable electricity provider. It is easy to make the switch, and in doing so, you'll help the nation wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean green power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. I'll be back next week, back in the studio with our usual roundup. And there will be more awesome content on the channel too. Hopefully more from the Volkswagen ID Buzz long wheelbase launch event later this weekend. But Gavin, the lovely Gavin Kiwi EV Shoebridge, will also be bringing you some great content during the week. I know he's been having some great fun of late, and it's so enjoyable seeing him to test all of the cars in Aotearoa that I'm never ever going to get a chance to drive. Anyway, whatever you're doing next, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll be back, as I said, soon. I'm Nikki Gordon Bloomfield. Ka kite! See you next time.